Hello and welcome to day one of week 7 of split 1 of the 2020 OPL. I am your host, Nick Boy Richardson, and I would love to be painted in chocolate, frankly. This is a conversation we were having 10 seconds ago before we went to air. Looking back, obviously I'm joined by Spawn, looking back at the grand final 2016?
Yep.
Grand final, and we were talking about how there just wasn't enough people in boxes or painting for my liking.
Yeah, for your liking. That is probably my favourite grand final, which is saying something because obviously we had Luna Park the year before. It was going to be tough to top. But the fact that I was on the analyst desk with Hingers, myself, Radier, and the Goon, maybe the best analyst desk that has been put together for a final. Controversial. But I had a lot of fun talking to Radier because Radier had just been removed from that Chiefs lineup, had just lost the semi-finals to the Chiefs. Like nearly made it there himself. So for him to come out and actually share his expertise, and last moment Derek was kind of on the OPL, a very special place in my heart.
But of course he lives on in all our hearts in the form of a medal. I'm also joined by Rusty and Skimmy. Rusty, you pointed out something as well about the paint used at the end of the grand final last year.
Next question.
Face paint.
Yeah.
It certainly was not face paint.
No, that was towards Jake's point as well, though, because he's just got me thinking about that. That was also one of my casts with Atlas, one of the last ones. But earlier in the day, I also got to dunk him in a dunk tank at that event. So that definitely is one of the better experiences that I've had in an event for sure.
Skimmy, have you been in a dunk tank?
It's before my time. I'm too young for
Dunk
this.
tanks?
For dunk tanks?
I'm just too young for all this.
You've never been to like a kid's fair?
Nah.
School fete?
No.
Do you know
you've never been the headmaster of a private school?
No.
Do you know in Nickelodeon how they used to get slimed?
Yeah.
I would love to slime
I saw it on the cartoons,
Skinny.
but I never actually engaged. Do you know what I mean? You'd look at it and you'd be like, oh, that looks like some American...
Dunk tanks?
You just look at all that stuff and you'd be like, oh, that must be some American, like, fair carnival stuff. And I just never would do it.
You are a fascinating
I'm an
person.
interesting person.
We're dunking him at MEO.
We have to. That is definitely.
That is
the
definitely
segment.
just happening.
That
You
is
need to
definitely the
Give
segment.
me a new experience.
You are getting dunked in
Dunked,
chocolate,
then
my friend.
slimed.
And slimed. What exciting things have happened to you this week? It's been an eventful week, but we are here to celebrate the OPL and some League of Legends action. Let's get into some of that celebration. Before we do, however, Riot has agreed that in the interest of player safety to postpone orders matches tomorrow. So that's Saturday the 14th against both the Direwolves and Mammoth. There are no forfeits, and those games will be played at a time and date that will be decided in the future. But let's take a look at the standings as they stand as we head into the weekend. A slightly lopsided weekend it will be, but a weekend it is. Number 1, Chiefs. Number 2, Legacy. And Direwolves rounding out the top 3 there. Order very close there at 4. Pentanet.gg coming in 5. Then it's Avant, Gravitas, and Mammoth rounding out the bottom of the table. Obviously, Avant and Gravitas tied there. So there is some wriggle room for those teams over this weekend.
Yeah, but really, race for playoffs needs to start now if you're a bottom 3 team. Avant were thereabouts. It felt like until last week where they had a shocker. So they really need to be able to start righting some wrongs. And the top 3 spot is so important as well, you know, being able to get that second chance in the new final series. So would be interested to see how the Direwolves games go. Obviously only playing one of them as not able to play against Order this weekend. But the top of the table certainly looking very interesting as well.
The game of the day is pretty clear. I feel like we have OPL Classico round 2.
Yep.
That is Chiefs versus Legacy for game number 4. Aside from that, what else are we excited for?
I mean, the first game for me is interesting because we're talking about the making playoffs and we're talking about getting separation to being in the top 3, right? And it doesn't just start this week, it starts in the very first game. If Direwolves win, an extra point of separation, potentially from Order there as well, is very big for securing 3rd. AV, if they don't start winning now, then they may break the curse of finishing 5th and be 6th.
There it is. There it is. That's not the way you want to break that curse. Direwolves versus Avant is game number 1. Pentanet.gg versus Legacy is game 2. We then have Avant versus Gravitas for game 3, and then obviously Chiefs versus Legacy for game 4. It's an action-packed weekend. We are happy to have you guys with us. Let's jump into game number 1. Indeed, you were just talking about it. Avant need to break that curse. They don't want to end 5th again. Have they gone above at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was coaching them, we finished above it. I remember. Right. But then, of course, we didn't make it very far in the gauntlet. A certain team got in the way not naming names, but it was
Yeah,
Spawn's
they don't
team
play
very
anymore, don't worry.
specifically.
So no, I think game one's super interesting, right? Because on paper, Avant looked like an exciting lineup, and it looked like they did have kind of their game plan down pat. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were starting to really ramp up, but they kind of have fallen back off the cliff a little bit here. And I think Direwolves are the opposite. This is a team that coming into the season, I thought they looked completely lost and wasn't really all that worried about them, but out of nowhere, they've just found some of their pocket picks. They've found some of that stylish flair that led the Avant gaming lineup to be so successful last year. And this is a team that maybe can win the whole damn thing now if you're looking at their current track record.
Rusty, who are you? Sorry, Spawn. The other one, Skimmy.
Gimme.
Who are you tipping?
New guy. No, I'm going Direwolves. I think Direwolves completely outmatch Avant based on current form and just their individual matchups. I feel like it's a clash of styles, and I think that Avant's downfall in recent times have been they've been so overzealous in the early game, unable to really find a lead, and it sort of just falls off a cliff.
Are they playing Crabbles? Gun Crab?
Are they?
I assume
Yes,
they're
they
playing
are.
Gun Crab. So if they're playing Gun Crab, I think that they lack carry potential this team. I've kind of said it for a while. I think Chaz is super consistent in the mid lane. If you put him on a Legacy lineup or a Chiefs lineup right now, he is equally as good, but just in a different way. He's a very stable player.
Yeah.
You saw him get 3 kills versus Order last week, but he just used it to stabilize the game, was a threat, but never really the carry threat. Dragkill, in my opinion, doesn't have any carry potential. So if this team doesn't play Violet, and this is the reason I like it when they do play Violet, they have a genuine hyper carry. Gun Crab is a unique, weird player, and he will win you skirmishes or 2, but I think very rarely will he actually pop off and win you a whole game. And we've seen it a couple of times where he's had early leads against the teams like Legacy, and then he's just fallen off the face of the earth for the rest of the game.
And I really like the Chaz point though, because in my mind, like with the current form of Chaz, you could put him on a better team and he would still be performing as well.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I think he's been performing out of his mind compared to even splits past, and that's just to stabilize. So he does need that extra X factor to be able to win a game and put a W on the board.
And it's really hard. What I'm saying isn't really all that much of an insult, because I think in the league, there are only a couple of people that can actually genuinely 1v5. Like, Raze can definitely 1v5. Eminez showed that he could. Rare on his day can 1v5. And then kind of you got maybe Chippies, or
Maybe
on Chiefs.
Croc. We've seen
Croc,
it once.
yeah, Croc actually had a really good game. That's a good point. But someone on Chiefs that can genuinely 1v5, I think they're all just really stable, like a good team, apart from maybe Croc. So, it's not necessarily a knock on Jazz to say he can't take over and win a whole game for them. But I just think that Avant at the moment do lack a little bit of carry potential, where Direwolves have got it in Spain through their top laner. The likes of Chiefs and Legacy have certainly still got it as well.
But he does hold the title of best lips of the OPL. Let's take a look at the Avant lineup, please. We're talking about who we're bringing. Jake, talk us through Avant.
Yeah, it's going to be Dragkill in the top lane, Lisa in the jungle. He needs to definitely step up. Has kind of fallen off for me. Chaz in the mid lane, Gun Crab and Appy down bottom, and of course Coach Max. This is a team that, as I said, they looked really well drilled 3 weeks ago. I was really hopeful that the aggression was going to stay put, but they need to find themselves this week because they've had back-to-back shockers.
And this is a chance for Gun Crab to step up. You hear some constructive criticism maybe from the couch here. This is your opportunity to shine. Come out swinging. I think it could happen.
In a way that isn't just a pocket pick or something creative. I think shining by being a star player is what you would want to see from him. He can play the zigs, but it's one thing to just pick it and win a lane. It's another thing to get the 14 plates and then be a carry through the rest of the game consistently.
All right, well, some team who are trying to shut Gun Crab down is the Direwolves. Let's take a look at the Direwolves lineup. Skimmy.
Yep, so it's going to be the all-Kiwi affair, the solo queue wonders, if you will. Chippy's in the top lane, it's Meru in the jungle, Shock in mid lane, Vital and Decoy are your bottom lane, and Coach Kai on standby.
There you go. All right, it is time to jump into game number 1. Before we do, Skimmy, my apologies for calling you both Spawn and Rusty.
It just feels like I'm back home with the parents, They just forget which kid is which.
Spawn and Rusty, I'm so sorry that I called Skimmy after your name. I don't know who I've insulted more. It's definitely someone, but we will be insulting many more people over the course of the evening. We got some Procasa, we got some one right answer, but before that, we do have a game of League of Legends. It is Direwolves versus Avant. It is coming up right now with the Macca's Champ Select.
Let's kick it off with the very first game of the day. It is Direwolves taking on Avant. Opposite ends of the ladder so far, Rusty, and we need to really see some signs of change coming out from Avant, really getting them back on course, back on track to what we sort of saw from the first initial few weeks.
Yep, and did you see the smack talk coming out of the Direwolves staff here on social media before the games today?
I did not. What have I missed?
There was a wonderful little post there by Udisoft who took a copy-paste on Dragku and made it a video, basically saying that he is a liability to the team and that Chippies is just comprehensively a better player, and then named the reasons that Dragku could improve, which is literally every aspect of League of Legends. So he's said it as a bit of a meme. Dragku, of course, very good friends with Udisoft, which is the man who made the video, but good banter, but still some seriousness behind that banter, saying that Chippies is significantly better than Dragku. Well, we're going to find out, because it is the student and the master.
Will be indeed, as the pick and ban phase comes underway. A lot of picks denied on towards really Avant. We're talking about high carry potential for mid lane in LeBlanc, early game jungler in Elise, and then just a flex pick of Lucian. Just picks that are great in the early game and it can really come online and give Avant that kind of wonder edge, if you will.
Yeah, and the high priority starting off here for Direwolves towards the Misfortune with Aphelios gone. So eyes go towards AV and what champion they're going to be playing down in the AD carry position themselves. We have seen some interesting stuff from them in the past. Now, when we look at the first two picks here of AV, the Talia being locked in early to me is interesting because that does open the floor for something like a Pantheon. As their third pick, Talia Pantheon, having that unique flexibility of potentially every role, just going everywhere as a duo, you know, mid-jungle, AD support, we're not entirely sure, but that's one of the cool things about it. With a Talia lock in early, that is possible.
Well, if we're looking for an improvement from Lisa, currently 3 champions have been denied away from him. Lee Sin was his most played, Miru's taking that, Elise banned away, then Olaf. After that, we start to have a game apiece on Jarvan and Rek'Sai. So it'll be interesting to see what Avant have in their arsenal, ready to practice and prepare. Looks like they're considering the Ezreal, they will lock it in. It's going to be a very aggressive lane that they need to obviously draft against in that Misfortune and Nautilus.
Yeah, holding the support right now, it does mean the Direwolves will get 2 bans in that direction if they would like. Something like a Karma for lane control is possible. Morgana, if you want to just deny the Nautilus pick outright and survive the lane. You may not have too much control of the lane itself. Nautilus and Misfortune just being able to bully, but you'd still be safe. And that would really show us where they wanted to play this game out. Now, waiting for these bans to come through. We spoke about what Direwolves can do.
Yeah.
AV already starting to put their bans towards Shock, who last week said he was very comfortable on the Cassiopeia and was willing to just pick that one blind if it helps the rest of his team. So they're going to get rid of some comfort.
A couple of 1,000 games will do that, especially when you played that champion that many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Direwolves still targeting towards Chaz, now denying another high priority burst mage, and that the Echo is taken off the board.
Yeah, LeBlanc and Echo gone. Starting to run short on options. I don't think that it's going to be a Zed or anything from AV, that's for certain, with the Syndra removed. Orianna's still on the board. If we're going to look at the mages up and available, that could be picked here by either side, but it could also just be the Talia mid. We don't know yet.
Begs the question if Direwolves want to ban away to Zoe as well. Zoe's been Chaz's most played. Outside of that, he's had a game apiece on Ryze and Zillion. But they're going to opt for the bottom lane control. Deny away the Braum.
Ornn's still present as well. If that's something that perhaps Direwolves would be looking towards, you'd say with a ban like the Braum, that does bring that into question. Is that going to be potentially there?
Morgana currently being hovered. Not wanting to still show that mid matchup, wanting to give Chaz all the flexibility in the world, saving the last pick. Black should obviously be very, very strong against the likes of a Zoe.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up though. Is it a last pick for Chaz, or is it just holding the flex? Right, which makes the most sense as a draft strategy here. It could well be Chaz. We're waiting to see where it is the Direwolves choose to go, however, as they have to reveal both solo laners now, which is again a very good decision as to why you would hold Chaz and his pick for last.
Orianna going to come online here. Nice control mage for them, have a lot of engaged tools to make sure that will work. And that's another one. So you've now got essentially 2 very easy champions to get into the fold of things. 3 if you include Nautilus, Shockwave, as well as the overlap from Bullet Time here, just presents them a very well-rounded composition. And Well, they say, look, you had the chance to pick the Zoe. Chaz is very comfortable with that, and it is a champion that can definitely go for those 1v9 plays.
Yeah, but it's also like Direwolves give him the Zoe as a potential pick. You know, you go for the Orianna mid, you go for the set. Now, closing the gap is something that Set's not very good at. Chaz gets a lot of summoner spells to throw down constantly as well. And looking at the mid lane matchup, you can poke a Zoe down, you can hit shockwaves, but she can push the wave very successfully early and hits you while hitting the wave if you try and step up and trade with her. So mid matchup, fairly even, can be restrictive, and a lot of it on the spell thieves that you get off minions for the Zoe, and if she can win that lane outright. Bot lane, we already spoke about it, is very good at just holding the fort down.
Yeah.
There is a risk of, you know, Mir coming into the fray and causing a ruckus, but Morgana denies the Nautilus almost completely, and Ezreal is just hard to catch. So for me, I am looking at Lisa and Chaz, and I am also looking at what Dragu can do to assist the rest of the team through the start of this game, as I think that's where most of this game will be decided. You know, AV, notoriously aggressive in their early game. How are they going to go against the likes of Direwolves with this comp?
Very even when it comes to the likes of getting first bloods and first towers, but definitely flipping the script when it comes to Direwolves being a more farm-heavy team. And Avant being much more towards the aggression. We need to see some love in that early game, that pre-15 minutes, to see if Avant have found a new lease of life. Currently 4 defeats on the trot. They want to turn it around coming into this week.
Yeah, they most definitely do. Direwolves looking like a team running rampant on the OPL, however, taking it to both top teams last week. You would have said a very difficult schedule as the strength goes, but they've proven their mettle, and now they have to go against one of the hungry teams below them for a change.
Well, we've got Coach Kaya on standby. Welcome as always. You come into this matchup here, you're feeling pretty confident, I'm assuming, with this lineup. Almost looks like comfort picks across the board.
Yeah, it's stuff that we're all really good on, super comfortable, and yeah, happy with the draft.
Is there anything there, Kai, with this matchup, looking at, you know, it's a couple of former AV members against the AV org, and you've got Dragu against Chippies. Is there any little rivalries there between the players individually?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe rivalry is the word, but it's just like, it's just fun for the guys. Like, we've been really looking forward to it. Like, Draku's a friend of, like, the entire team.
Yeah.
And it's, like, really good fun. And, like, we've all got good relationships with pretty much everyone, especially Gunkrab as well. Like, Gunkrab and this team, like, they're constantly playing games together still. Like, they're still really good friends. So it's just a little bit of, you know, a little bit of fun for everyone.
We look at this matchup here, and obviously the pick and ban phase, there was a heavy priority towards the mid in terms of denying a lot of those champions. Do you think that was more beneficial towards the likes of Shock, or more of a hindrance towards Jazz?
Probably more of a benefit towards Shock. Like, I think Shock has a ridiculously deep pool. So does Chaz, though, so you kind of have to give it both ways. But I think overall, the more you cut down their pools, the more of an advantage that's going to be for Shock, who's overall the better player, than it is for someone who, you know, Chaz can match him if they were, like, you know, top-tier champions, like his top 2 or 3 onto Shock's 3rd or 4th. But once you start getting down to his 3-4 champions, it's not quite as good. But he does have Zoe, which is a really good Zoe player. So, I don't know. It's hard to call.
Let's look at the comps then. Let's take a bigger picture approach to this one then, aside from the mid lane. Do you think that you got the better composition, or do you think that there is a moment where you will just be definitively stronger than AV, where you want to win the game?
I think AV have really got to win it early. Like, they've got to have this really nice pathing, which, like, they've started off well. And, like, get on top of everyone, use this Renekton and Talia combination, or even, you know, I had a slight look in draft as well. Morgana Talia can have a very similar effect going onto Nautilus, who can be a bit annoying, like a bit, you know, big, pretty hard to dodge, that thing that takes up an entire wave. So, you know, I think they'll do one of those things. If they don't really get that off and get kind of a lead in the first 15, I think they're a bit buggered, to be honest with you.
Beautiful. Well, we'll look forward to seeing how this one goes ahead. As it looks like we're going to jump into a quick pause. But Direwolves taking on Avant. Best of luck there, Kai.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good cast.
I think the Nautilus point there is a very good one as well. When you look at what the Nautilus is up against, not just in lane, but as a composition. If you don't proc Aftershock, usually Nautilus is a very squishy champion.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, his opponents aren't all the easiest to hit a spell on. You know, you've got the Morgana Black Shield, which denies the ultimate. Suddenly, you don't get the guaranteed Aftershock, so you have to hit the hooks. Ezreal's got mobility. Zoe's kind of here, there, and everywhere with walls between you. So it's pretty hard, actually, to be able to hit that. Talia's maybe the free target, but even then, you know, with the Morgana pocketing, which is what you would expect to see, that's where things could go a little bit awry for him. And a Nautilus that isn't tanky means it's a little bit harder to play the front line properly and set up for those shockwaves, and, you know, the game becomes more difficult to navigate. But, like mentioned, a lot of that comes through getting leads in the early game to be able to body that Nautilus out in the first place. Because when a Naut's behind, he tends to stay there.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that there's probably an idea behind the fact that, look, we have such a strong AD carry in, Vital. He is really the crux of what we've been seeing in the last few weeks as to, give him a few items and the guy will pop off. Misfortune, incredibly strong on that champion. So, yes, we have been sort of counted in that regard with the Morgana, but as long as we don't fall too far behind and he is still a threat, obviously the roaming potential to go towards Drake and Rift Herald on the swap.
Also back into the game now. No hesitation, no real problems there at all, just straight back in. To your point on Vital, I think that I don't want to be someone spouting conspiracy theories, but he bought boots and he beat the top team in the league. And he didn't buy boots and they lost. I mean, is that just science? It's just proof right there. Vital can be one of the best AD carries in the league if he puts some shoes on his feet.
It's going to be one of these things that's going to continue to be a meme until we get to finals. I look forward to seeing how that one evolves. But Miru right now, he's quite deep. He is behind enemy lines. There's no vision to scout him out. He's going to be able to deny a fair few of these. Obviously now allows that priority to come across, so this minion wave's going to get crashed in pretty hard. And because they're so scared, only at level 2, they're forced to miss a lot of this.
Yeah, so when we look at what happened during the coach interview, there was pretty aggressive trades in bot lane. The Direwolves very easily won. And AV lost. Now they're flashing in.
That's a beautiful flash. Took the spell shield just a little bit too late. Also has the ability to jump away. Still very low health bars. Gonna have to juggle this aggro pretty nicely right now. Appy has flash. Gonna buy some time. Nautilus root from the passive connects. Summoners have to be burned as a trade-off there.
Yeah, well done by Appy to survive. Using the minion wave to ensure that there was no Q able to connect. And at the end of the day, it was a teleport in from Gunkrab to still collect the next wave as it crashes. That'll be his 10th CS of the game, so he is very far behind on this Ezreal. But they don't die, they don't give over the first blood kills, and this tries to get Lisa some extra time at least to do something around the map. Still not good for AV, but better than giving extra over to Direwolves, who are the ones very clearly putting that pressure down.
They put the pressure down and they find infinite value in the amount of summoners. 4 summoners for 2, get some turret plates, and as you say, they've denied half the minions from Gunkrab. So definitely finding a strong start there and highlighting my point from before, getting Vital online and ensuring that, hey look, if Avant get a strong early game, we've got that mid to late game transition to come online here.
Dive attempt in top lane.
They're going to find a lot of damage on the chippies, but that's what Grit can do. He's going to find one! Wow! The damage coming out of set!
I mean, really though?
You've broken him.
Draco has flash, he dies with flash up. Maybe didn't expect the damage, but it was a set that had turned golden, so that was definitely there. Either way, AV, they try and make a play cross map and they are bested by Set in the 1v2. Chippies gets the kill. All credit to him.
Always so frustrating trying to dive a set, especially if you're melee champions right now, but let's not ponder on that because the action takes place in the bottom lane again. Ignite going to get used here. They're going to go into Appy. The damage is going to come on through. They make it rain and they collect the coin.
Yeah, has a ward in the bush, so no reaction time there from Appy to get the shield up. No summoners, remember, from that earlier play. Lisa respawns. Oh, sorry, he doesn't just respawn. He runs straight from base to bot lane to protect Gunkrab because he knows that's where he needs to be. Worried that Mir might be here. Now, he is. The dive threat is hard to say would happen, but it is a cannon wave if they wanted to crash that one in. So, no surprises. Very well done from Lisa to navigate the jungle to be in the correct position. However, Drake is being done in the meanwhile.
It will be indeed. So now you're finding value in the bottom lane with those turret plates falling on down. The wave constantly at your tower. Drake going to be taken as well. But let's see how this all went so wrong for Draku.
Yeah, so they start with the Renekton stun, which makes sense. Get the free Talia flick afterwards. And then Draku just gets pulled back in by Chippies, who saves his E to the very last second. Very standard stuff there, honestly, coming out of the set. Just played it as easy as you'd like. And unfortunately for the side of AV, they were brought into his web.
Only the flash remains now on Vital in the spot lane. You may see a little bit of a lull in the action, especially from the Avant side. Very low on mana on Gunkrab, is he? Doesn't have that tier online just yet.
Yeah, he's struggling. If you go back to base and you can't buy a tier on that first shot or, work towards the Sheen, he's got the Fairy Charm. So he's going to run out of mana a few times and doesn't have that teleport. Awkward spot to be an Ezreal, so that CS lead will probably just remain the way it is. Vital and Decoy, they still give priority to the rest of the map, however, and Mir's able to utilize that, get control elsewhere. Draku did have a decent lead in top lane. It's worth mentioning before that dive as well. You can see he still has the CS advantage, but now that the kill's gone over to Chippy, so it's gold's equalized and things become a little bit harder for that Renekton.
Both teams definitely very strong once they hit level 6, and their fight can go either way when that comes online, but we've talked about it all game so far here, Rusty, but it has to be highlighted once again. You know, just bottom lane, the impact from these first 7 minutes has definitely been felt.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's the team that's meant to be... This bot lane for AV is meant to just survive. You know, hold on as best it can. That dive top lane was meant to work for AV. And when you consider that, and like the aggressors in the early game should be AV, not a good start for them. And it makes you worry that things will only get worse from here on out. Ball's still in their court to make something happen. You know, hit that level 6 point, maybe they can turn it around, get something back in their favor.
Missing a lot of CS under that tower there, as we now turn our attention towards the top lane. Massive wave's going to be crashed in, going to free up Chippies to go for the rotate. Looking to now potentially go for a Rift Herald. Swap hasn't come across just yet, as it spawns at 8 minutes.
Orianna with blue buff tends to be able to body out a Zoe decently well if there's a minion wave also. So you can see that controlling the side of the map where the Herald is being done is shock. And having that blue buff, the reason that it helps you body him out is you're not worried about mana usage on the Q spam. You can just constantly throw that to keep Chaz away. Anytime he wants to last hit a minion, and he's not using Q, probably going to cop a combo as Herald is just juking mid.
Well, a nice early game start for the Dire Wolves here. They picked up an Infernal Drake. They've now got the Rift Herald online. Able to try and help on their side lanes to get them into a lead. Obviously, mid lane is working in their favor still. He's a little bit down in CS, down by 10. Obviously, does have that kill online for himself. All with the power of the Renekton. So it'll be interesting to see where Miru decides to go for that push. Which lane he decides to try and open up.
It's always ideally mid, but if you wanted to, bot lane is just a Herald push away from breaking, so it makes the most sense that you could look towards that one.
Yep.
You have Mountain Drake in 2 minutes, so opening up bot lane and keeping your ADC and support down there is still possible. You know, get some extra mid priority as a result of it. That's what I would like to see, especially because Mira is the one holding the Herald, and he'll want to get rid of that as soon as possible, just because he's on the Lee Sin and wants to have access to that ward hop.
Vision's going to count him out right now. Vision Globe comes across as well, as Avant look to try and stabilize and claim some control of this map. Bottom lane, as you say, now going to reach that magical point where only 2 turret plates remain and a true damage one-shot headbutt comes online. Miru's pathing down there currently.
Yeah, he's going to grab the scuttle, can just walk through the lane if he would like to place it straight away. We'll see how he chooses, given that the Krugs are up. May just take the free gold first, and I mean, they're getting the plates by themselves down here anyway, just by being in that 2v2. As long as they can track the location of the Talia, and there was just 2 careful pings on the exact spot that Lisa was, so they know where he is even without the vision. They're able to play accordingly.
Sheen and Tyr now online for Gun Crab. Going to be a little bit easier to see us, especially with the spells. As he's poked underneath that tower, definitely missing a fair few beforehand.
This is actually a point in the game where AV can win if they come bottom lane and respond to this. Herald expected to be pushed. But Chaz has mid-prio, they have vision control, and Dire Wolves have definitely overstepped considering that.
Vital is in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Clove, the bubble, the damage, the complete execution. Everybody from Avant getting involved there. As Draku now teleports in, Dire Wolves disengaging through the river. Blast Cone's going to be used as Draku tries to find an angle, going to find that stun. They want to try and take out Miru. They want to deny this Rift Herald from being used. A lot of resources used. But they do find 2 kills to even up the scoreboard.
Yeah, so we have to look at the cost of that play from AV. The first kill's fantastic. That's exactly what they wanted. Big mistake there from Dire Wolves in positioning. But top lane's going to be getting pushed because of the teleport by Draku. Now, Dragon is up in 2 seconds, so they should be able to secure that one, AV. The question is how many plates will go down in topside after this single Drake is taken with the 2 kills. And is that worth it?
Mountain Drake at this stage, not really going to give you too many stats. Definitely more of a denial to give Dire Wolves that condition where they can get the soul point online.
Definitely still a good Drake to have, though. AV will be happy with that one. And the 600 gold in their pockets from the kills as well, of course. Now, top lane did lose all of its plates, bar 1. Bot is also about to lose another plate, potentially, if not the turret. And Mir's got Herald that he could summon mid right now. And so the cost of that play by AV is ridiculously high suddenly.
Yeah.
So that's like a 9-plate turnaround by Direwolves after losing 2 members.
And that is translated into a 2k gold lead now for the Direwolves. As you say, getting value in the top lane and the mid lane. But just a full collapse onto Vital, who decided to stray away from the rest of the team.
Yeah, Talia ultimate will lock Vital in place, but it's the bubble that connects. If that was flashed, maybe he gets away or lives for a bit longer. And then the teleport comes in. That does secure this second kill. And the wave was pushed top lane. So this is pretty good in the end as we're looking bottom.
We're looking bottom again. They're angry. He goes for the flash, the passive, the root, the bullet time. Gun crab. If he was having a rough time before, Rusty, it's only got exponentially worse.
Yeah, and this is becoming one of those games very quickly where AV do look for an aggressive move, but because even in that aggression, it's matched and bested by their opponents. Now they get the chance, and they just comprehensively win from that moment. That snowballs a gold lead. Very much out of control. And we'll see how Direwolves can utilize that. Chaz, if he steals this, ooh, we'll be very happy with it.
Very close. Mira does manage to pick that one up there. The Nana tier 1 turrets are bleeding and bleeding hard. Mid lane and top lane. You can almost sneeze and it'd fall on down.
And we get to see how Lisa dies here. I believe it was just Mir hitting the kick or something of the likes. There you go, Q's on. Very well played. Of course, the flash hunt in the end did seem like overkill. Maybe miscalculated his own damage. Was trying to flash kick him towards his team, but he just killed him. The infamous damn, I'm more fed than I thought Lee Sin approach.
Well, here comes the full collapse once again from Avant. 4 members summoned to this top lane. Lisa actually going to get the knockback onto what would have been a haymaker to get it. Max range bubble. Now Dracu, does he consider this? Has flash, has ultimate. Vital rocks up now, and they feel the pain of the overextend. Decoy on the flank. He doesn't have depth charge and used flash only moments before.
Vital just walks in and kills Appy. He just walks at him and he dies.
He's got the boots, he's got the passive.
He's got the
He's
boots.
going to run you down.
Yeah, he's very strong right now. And, you know, that's bot lane winning from the first moment in the game. Gold lead stretches to 5,000 as well. AV, they spend an extra couple seconds considering the kill. And in that consideration, they lose somebody. So the hesitation hurts. Now they lose mid outer turret almost. There's one tap away. They continue to push forwards.
The initial destruction of the Avant base is taking place right now as a little skirmish took place around this red buff beforehand. Dracu and the crew grouping up very hard right now, sticking as a 5-man unit, needing to make something work. And they need to because they're losing out so much XP and gold if they don't. They do manage to find Decoy in their efforts.
Yeah, this time it's Decoy's destiny to die as Mir overstays in the jungle, perhaps trying to steal that red buff. The rest of his team not to be seen at all. Unfortunately for Decoy, that'll be one of those VOD reviews when Mir just says, my bad. A little bit of that happening this game in general.
The early game jitters. First game of the day. Need that first 15 minutes to go away.
Well, this is that notorious point in the game where Direwolves last week said they were trying to improve. The 15 to 30 minute point. Clearly the first 15 has gone fine for them as Chippies and Drag, who are going to be duking it out, but really Drag, who was just trying to trade back on someone who was winning that as the Trinity Force comes in. And the red buff mainly, actually.
Oh, Mirror's got the better half of this rotation right now. Lanes are all working in Direwolves' favor. They're going to find the second one. All the vision right now, very defensively placed from Avant, and you can understand why they're grouping as a 5-man, because if they walk in on their own, the strength of these individual members,
yeah, and
they don't ever want to meet them.
We haven't seen it yet, Skimmy, but a shockwave would probably hurt right now. Luden's Echo done, Sorkshoes on level 11. So
yes.
While we haven't seen the impact of that, it is worth respecting. We've seen what Vital can do just by stepping up to the plate and auto-attacking. And grouping as 5 with Drake off in 20 seconds definitely seems like the right choice if they want to fight. Draku, no teleport though. And he is sitting top lane.
The timer may coincide beautifully though. If you look at the top right.
I mean, they could run it down mid with Rift Herald if AB choose to do the Drake. So a game of chickens on here. They force down mid lane, force Prio. Draku walks. So suddenly the ball's in AV's court. How are you going to play this one out?
Chippies does have teleport available. Both have them online right now. And that's the damage from just the Q and the impact. True Shot Barrage only going to connect on Mirror right now, but that's a jungler down at the half, making it a little bit harder.
Yeah, both junglers losing a lot of health. But Talia wall to zone them away. He doesn't have the damage to kill that in the duration. They're going.
They're going to go for the 4v5, it seems, at this stage, because there's no indication that Chippy's coming in. Bullet wave and shock time. That's the hybrid. That's the mixing of the two ultimates together, because they just did the damage there, Rusty.
Yeah, Lisa forced to disengage. Bubble not going to hit, so the dragon goes over for Direwolves. And that was without Chippies. Chaz has the flash. Chooses to use the ultimate there. Not feeling the kill too aggressively. Top lane inner turret also gone. Chippy's just running rampant. That's one of those things where if AV don't win that when they bring all their resources towards it, starts to get worse from here because that was without their top laner.
I mean, the impact of that play, right? You're not only taking some kills at Drake, you're losing turrets. The economy is definitely starting to get out of hand here.
I mean, one, that's a very early wall by Lisa. Perhaps was trying to keep Shock away, but Shock gets over. Shockwave hits. Bullet time connects. And Vital flashes forward, hoping to get the kill, but the Ignite followed that one out. So Deco locks it down. And then they get the Drake. Note during all of that time, Chippy's took down an entire turret.
Drake, who is still doing a great job of keeping up in the CS and matching him. Definitely if they go into those side lanes, I think he's going to have a hard time trying to match him.
In terms of CS, you're absolutely right. he's matched him as best he can. But you still can feel the differences.
My.
There you go.
Shock is not afraid to get in there right now for good reason, because Miru's on the hunt. Burns out the flash, but there's multiple boys coming at different angles. You take down one, but the rest follow. Decoy has the fancy feet to juke at the following skill shots.
Yeah, mid also being pummeled during this as well. Mir has the Herald that he'll probably place in bot lane right now. They break the mid lane inner. They could probably break the bot lane inner as well right now if they would like. This gold lead that was 5,000, the last fight stretches to 8, and we're getting closer to 10, 18 minutes in.
And it's so damn frustrating for Avant right now, because they are rotating between all these lanes, really trying to hard fall something and just unable to connect. And if they try to be the ones that is proactive, Direwolves have always got a response, always got an answer, and always a way to make it turn around in their own way.
And they're still really holding the Rift Herald here. I wonder what the plan is for that. Perhaps they knew they could get that inner turret, so they're just going to play for the inhib turret with that Herald. Perhaps they want the Herald to dance. But it is getting close to expiring, so... I mean, I'm just curious at this point. There we go. Set pressuring mid lane waves. Pretty similar timing in terms of when they're going to crash. Compliments of that Herald. Even though AV clear the minions. Chippy is able to rotate over.
Well, that Herald just instantly evaporates. Does the job, though. Inhibitor turret does fall quite low. Chippy's very impressive with his ability just to blindly juke.
And there's some laughing there from Decoy. You just watch Chippy, he just dodged everything.
Just thinking, how did you not get punished for that play?
He's got his jiggle step on. Can't touch the man. What was that? Was it Carmichael Hunt, the goose step or something?
The goose step?
Was that it? Yeah.
I've
Did you ever
never
watch
heard of
rugby?
this. No, I haven't.
Ah.
I watch All Blacks when they're playing Australia, but that's it.
Terrible. Yeah, I think there was a move called the goose step. Let's just say that Chippies gave it to them because rugby league, you should know about it.
I'll have to check it out. But what we will need to check out is the fact that Vital is 4 kills with only 1 death, and he has so many items at his disposal. The Cesare was definitely missed, I should say, his mark where he can get that big power spike.
The only thing the Ezreal has going for him is that his 2 items are cheaper than the Misfortunes. So, while there is a very big Vital on the other side, once the Glacial Shroud is there and becomes the Iceborne Gauntlet, that's not too far away, and that will help, but with Baron up on the cards, if they get Baron, Iceborne Gauntlet's not going to be doing a lot to stop those minions from blocking the damage and the slowing field.
You can feel the wrath, the impact of what these ultimates can achieve between Shock and Vital if they can get that combo off every single time.
What sport did you play if not rugby?
I just
in
played
New Zealand.
football.
You played soccer in New Zealand.
Football, tennis, squash, hockey. I just played it all, man. And then I realized, I think like it was my graduation year, my final year of high school, that I could get the same amount of excitement from playing video games at home.
True. That feeling of winning, not just once a week.
Right? I didn't have to get up early on a Sunday to go play football when it was like raining outside.
I won a premiership in AFL and then stopped playing immediately afterwards. Even though it was like a local league, it was like, I peaked, and this is it.
Yeah, we got to go away on a school holiday. It was like a first 11 tournament up in the North Island. A week off school, thought it was pretty sweet. Then I realized you could get the same amount from gaming.
And still go to school. You hear that?
That's it,
Hear
exactly.
that, parents of the world?
Parents were very happy with that one.
Herald was, sorry, not Herald, Baron was looked at there by Direwolves, but they didn't clear the vision. So they're just going to disengage that one very easily, go over to the Cloud Drake. Secure that one, no contest. AV just going to try and buy time. It's really the state of this game, but now there's a threat of a Cloud Soul. The threat of the Baron becomes more ever present as time goes on. And to deal with Chippy's in the side lane, who has actually picked up the Frozen Mallet. And so Draku can't escape him.
No.
If he's ever overextended and gets punched once, that punch slows you down for eternity.
Kind of what we expected out of Chippy. So he's been such a strength factor on this roster. A source of consistency and
Yeah.
always the ability to, you know, find his own if he is going for that split pusher, split pressure, I should say, and just always find an advantage.
This team will always go for a 1-4. You know, it's very rare that you'd look at them, and they did it once, where they're like, we're going to pick the hard 5-man R-button composition and see how it goes. The Camille is maybe the one exception to that rule for Chippies. But he does love his split pushes. The set, just the newest addition to the mix. He's got the Fiora. You know, things like that if he wants to.
Well, Direwolves now establishing control of this jungle, this entrance towards Baron. Set continues to put pressure in the bottom lane, where that turret did take a fair beating towards the inhibitor.
Big damage from Shock there.
The hook's gonna land. He does manage to flash out and use the summoner too. Been a quiet game for Chaz so far, but can he find some impact here? Goes Drowsy. True Shot barrage use as well, but just not enough damage to execute the support.
Yeah, forced to back off there is Direwolves. Just good harass from AV. Running towards the AV comp is very difficult. We mentioned this during the Champ Select, but Nautilus has a very hard time locking anyone down when you've got an Ezreal and a Morgana to deal with. And now try running into a Zoe bubble, into a Talia worked ground as well. She's just going to pummel your health bar. And they proved that. That was through the dead man's plate. Yeah, Gargo a stone plate of a decoy. And still has to back off.
He's a tanky Nautilus right now, but as you say, definitely wants that after shot to come online. Only happens if you're in range. And there are a lot of wards in that one brush.
Yeah,
Half and parts of domination.
Oh,
And more again!
wards at every bush!
Every bush is online. Baron is the focus.
Mir also once again with 0 HP. Ezreal ultimate going to hit that one home. He's going to try and get some health back from the Krugs.
Yes.
Doesn't want to recall, he's just done that. So wants to try and stick around.
Definitely wants to keep up the tempo in this exchange right now because they are keeping Avant out of their jungle, unable to put this vision down.
Yeah, but they're still not clearing the pit. You know, they're really fighting for vision in the red side jungle, but they haven't cleared the wards sitting inside the Baron pit itself. And now they're going to hit the Baron once again in vision. They might have assumed that AV couldn't get a ward off as Appy gets one tap by Shock.
Wow.
And now because they are playing towards the objective, it gets a little bit easier for Direwolves to get it done.
Direwolves find control in one Shrub. Their Baron ward will expire. Now a control goes down, and the flank from Chippies, as he is surrounded by 4 members looking to collapse. There goes the suplex. 3-man slow stun knockup disaster. Instant disengage from them. Decoy finds the hook, and Draku goes big. Sterix used very early on. And quite honestly, Rusty, all to buy time for Baron to be completed.
Yeah, Lisa uses the ultimate there at the very end to try and make sure they can't keep chasing, but the Baron was already gone. Direwolves, knowing how much health is missing from AV, will push forwards on this wave straight away, and they'll be able to break the first tower inside AV's base. Seemed like it was just going to be delayed. Time was going to be bought, but suddenly...
That's a lot of damage. True Shot barrage will connect. Shock looks for the one-shot to Lisa. He cannot find it. Both go golden. Avant surviving for the meantime. Bullet time does come out, but it does burn flashes and disengage. Hot shots both ways. But the inhibitor, in the end, will fall.
And once again, AV having a very hard time stopping Direwolves, but still getting trades, still doing a lot of damage. Very relevant damage is worth noting at that, however, unfortunately for them, the inhibitor does drop. And so any chance of the stolen defense that they've been putting up prior has been taken away from them, at least down one lane. Good damage once again. It was Chaz is doing a lot of work, and Ezreal Gunkrab has been following up nicely with the ultimates. They've always been hitting the person that has been put to sleep. Something that Morgana bindings have been hitting as well. But this time, AV feel like they have to overreach to secure the kills. They go a little bit too far forwards. Draku gets into the mix very aggressively, and the trades come back.
Soul Point now online, and that would be a 30% reduction on their ultimates. The movement speed component, you'd beg the question, not going to find the most love on the likes of Vital, maybe on Miru, maybe on Shock,
but the Cloud
cooldown
Drakes themselves are useful.
Yes.
You know, Shock is one of the biggest benefactors of it. Nautilus can also press R and then just run you down.
Absolutely.
Probably as fast as his own ultimate now runs. But like, I think the person you have to look at is Shock. Getting closer to level 16, 3 Cloud Dragons, so a significantly reduced ultimate cooldown. Not to mention his own cooldown reduction in his runes and items.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll have ultimate up constantly. He can just throw it at you for the sake of damage at this point. And he'll have it up very quickly.
And damage he has right now with the Rabadon's cap online. Chippy's going to escort this mid-wave in. Supers are coming through. Now the second inhibitor is going to fall on down. Shockwave connects, but just with the grounds. That's not going to deter Direwolves right now as they look to go for this end. Flash used. Nexus turret survives for the meantime, waiting for that next wave of minions to come on through. Turret still falling on down. Baron Inspiration will be enough as Vital gets excited. He takes out Lisa. No chance to use the ultimate to block them away. Second turret falls down. They're working towards the Nexus. They are looking for a sub 30-minute victory. Vital doesn't want to destroy that KDA. Here's the farming king in this region. And for good reason so, because look at the damage as Direwolves take down Avant.
Well, the Farming King ends up with 318 CS in 28 minutes. Still a good showing here from Direwolves. AV held the fort for a decent amount of time when you consider how far behind they were. Mir was having a very difficult experience trying to get anything done without just being instantly killed for it. But the thing is, they could kill Mir, maybe they could kill Decoy, but they were never going to be able to out-damage the carries of their respective opponents here in the Direwolves. So they were matched, and they were bested every single time it came down to the 5v5 crunch.
The raw strength they had online, the fact that even if a Shockwave misses, they still have enough left up their sleeve to close out their game, and just to instantly two-tap members on the side of Avant. GG to Direwolves there, and for Avant, once again, it's back towards that drawing board. You know, they look for a draft that is very strong in the early game, unable to assert themselves with enough of a lead in those first 15 minutes.
Because they dove a set, Skibby.
It hurts.
They kept trying to dive the set, and he kept repelling them while Direwolves were winning on the other side of the map.
Does hurt indeed. But let's go back to the couch for the boys as they break down game number 1.
Thank you very much, Skimmy and Spawn. Not the righting of the ship that Avant were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think they went for a really different strategy this time around, right? They went for, you know, quick ganking jungler in Talia, and they tried to heavily play around Dragku. I think their other 2 lanes were actually kind of losing, especially given jungle matchup, and things just fell apart really quickly. When your Ezreal has to burn flash level 1 because of Nautilus pressure, when you have a siege comp that not once gets to set up in the mid lane and siege turrets, you're probably not going to win the game because their comp just wasn't designed to 5v5 teamfight, but the Direwolves were so far ahead that they just kept forcing them into the jungle, kept forcing them into these skirmishes, and unfortunately Avant generally cracked under that and kind of went to the area the Direwolves wanted to, and then they lost like 3v5 fights. Like their comp was so much outskilled on those dragon fights that it didn't even come down to like how well they played them. It was just like they wanted to be set up in the middle of the lane, throwing spells with Ezreal and Zoe and like peppering them under the turret. And Direwolves just wanted to play around choke points, which you generally get in the river, you know, for the bullet time, for the shockwave, for the big set ultimates. And Avant, for some reason, just kept walking at dragons.
And I'll tell you what, not only walking at dragons, walking at smiling dragons, because Chippies is here. Chippies, you looked like you were having too much fun in that game. There was a certain point where all the Direwolves just started smiling, joking, having fun. Was it a good game for you guys to start off the weekend?
The game was pretty funny because there was a lot of communication problems. We're like, in scrims it's fine, but I guess on stage Insung's too focused. So we're like, all right, we're coming bottom G, and he just goes topside, eats Wolves, Gromp, Blue, Crab, you know, he's just having his own game. So it was just pretty funny, like him just having his own game, and like, well, it worked right. He carried us, so it's fine.
It totally worked.
And obviously you're going up against one of your old pupils in Dragku in the top lane.
True that.
How did you find the 2v1 matchup up there? You obviously had a fairly good time on the set.
That was quite cringe, eh? Like, he can't 1v1 me, so he needs bring up his jungler, but maybe he needs to redrive.
And Vital at the moment, is he the best AD carry in the league?
In my opinion, yeah, for sure. He reminds me of when I was playing with like Calvin, where he was just like, in scrims and stage, he's just always like so consistently better than the rest right now. But I do think our league has some good ADs, you know, like Raze, Ronan, and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, Vital has an edge on them right now.
So then talk to me, you know, you're playing in really good form. I think Mia's in great form. I think the Vital's in like red hot form as well. You guys obviously took down Chiefs last week. You pick up a victory today and unfortunately not going to be able to play a second game this week either. So what are you building towards, you know, last kind of portion of the season? Do you think that you guys are ready for that finals campaign?
I think we need a little bit more time, but I'm really confident with like the level of improvement each week that by finals, like, you know, we have the chance to take it all.
And your game seems to have evolved a little bit because, you know, a heavy split pusher prior, but you are grouping at the moment. You are picking up more of these set-like champions. Camille, whilst they can split push, they are also very good in the team fight. Is that something you're trying to get ready for the final series as well?
Yeah, for sure. Because in the past, I got exploited. I remember the last finals I played, they banned like Camille, Jax, Fiora every game. And then I'm just like playing tanks, and wasn't that good at them back in the day. So obviously this meta, the only good tank is Ornn, but I'm trying to pick up more of these like ditch sideways group of your team and like TP flank champs like that, so that if I get banned out again, like my team will carry and I'll set them up for success.
Yeah, it's looking good, mate. You're really doing well.
Thanks, man.
Doing really well. You got a 100% win rate this weekend. There you
Oh,
go.
really?
You're
Oh.
done. You're done for the weekend. You can just relax now.
Easiest weekend of my life, man.
Easy, mate. Enjoy Sydney for the rest of the weekend. You guys enjoy the break, and we'll be back right after this.
Top lane.
They're going to find a lot of damage for Chippies, but that's what Grit can do. He's going to find one. Wow. The damage coming out of set. Vital is in the wrong place at the wrong time. The glove, the bubble, the damage, the complete execution. Everybody from Avant getting involved there. We're looking bottom again. They're angry. He goes for the flash, the pass, the root, the bullet time. Gun crab.
Yeah, both junglers losing a lot of health, but Talia wall to zone them away. He doesn't have the damage to kill that in the duration. They're going.
They're going to go for the 4v5, it seems, at this stage, because there's no indication that Chippy's coming in. Bullet wave and shock time. That's a lot of damage. True shot barrage will connect. Shock looks for the one-shot to Lisa. He cannot find it. Both go golden. Avant surviving for the meantime. Bullet time. Second turret falls down. They're working towards the Nexus. They are looking for a sub 30-minute victory. Vital doesn't want to destroy that KDA. Here's the farming king in this region, and for good reason so, because look at the damage as Direwolves take down Avant.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.